Hey everyone, it's vmcampos, comic book fan, and I must apologize. This video is completely clickbait. This video will not be about the best Captain America comics or the best Captain Marvel comics. Those two captains are way too known. This is going to be a video about the lesser known captains. I'll show you a comic from each, and we're going to browse it together. So spoiler alert. First up, number 5, Captain Canuck. This is Canada's superhero. A superhero that's actually been around more than 40 years. So in this particular reboot from 2015, it comes from Chapter House Comics. This is number 1. Let's take a look inside. So the Captain Canuck has been around for a long time. Born of the true North and tested in war, Captain Canuck is a soldier granted the choice of how to use incredible power that could alter the fate of the world. Thrust into the battle at the head of the Global Crisis Intervention Agency called Equilibrium, Canuck must find his way as a warrior, leader, and ultimately hero to save humanity. So the characters are introduced, the creative team, Androfsky, writer and artist, Charalampidis, artist, Brisson, letterer, and various other people. So this is a very Canadian comic. It happens up on an oil refinery in the Yukon, I believe. The art is very good, action-packed, modern. Love some of these expressions. So it's a good comic if you've never heard of the character. He's basically battling some possessed zombie guys in an oil refinery. His team is very... they're experts, but there's a no-kill policy at the moment. So Canadian. This is being contrasted with other machinations happening. Oh, and yes, Canuck wants you. Get your official Captain Canuck merchandise, t-shirts and stuff. So there's another plot happening in the city. Let's see, what city is this? Vancouver, maybe? So while the action happens at the refinery, there's some other action happening in this meeting. So these guys are all possessed by something. Whoa, he took an axe to the arm. And right here, there is a standoff. There's a gun being pointed to the head. I know you all think so. I can see it in your eyes. Each morning I look in the mirror and think, why don't I just kill myself? Oh, he reaches in and bang. What happened? He actually did kill him. And Captain Canuck is fighting a big gold monster. A lot of exposition happens. And then, it's going to get the captain no signal to be continued. So then we've got some very Canadian ads over here for Booster Juice. When your superpowers need a boost, boosterjuice.com. So is this real or what? I don't know. Maybe check out the site and tell me about it. We've got the Montreal Comic Con. We've got a backup story from Captain Canuck, so created in 1975 by Richard Comley. For the first time in 35 years, the Captain Canuck case file is reopened. Now, this is a modern story. It's not from the 70s, but once again, happening in another oil refinery. This one is being besieged by... Now, this is a different captain, the original one, I suppose. But this one is being besieged by water creatures. Oh no, Captain, to be continued. And then the book ends with introducing everyone working in the book. And then next month, and then we've got Silver Snail, Toronto's world-famous comic shop and cafe. And then the book ends with an original Captain Canuck art right there. So Captain Canuck #1. #4, we have Captain Africa. This is from African Prince Productions for $2.50. A lot of action here. The cover artist is Storm. You may have never heard of this comic before, but now you will. Let's check it out. All right, so first of all, the book is in really cheap newsprint, and it was published in 1992. There is an intro from the creator, Dwayne J. Ferguson, and he talks about how Captain Africa was first published in various comic strips, and the author has actually written various novels, and now he's doing a comic. So this is Captain Africa in Bite of the Scarab, Book 1. This is pretty much a self-published comic, and I love these, that someone was able to create their own comic without the need of a big publisher. That always has fascinated me. The quality of the book is, drawing-wise, not quite on par with Captain Canuck, but Ferguson did it all. The writing, the drawing, the inking, and everything. And there are some scenes that look really nice, but there is an amateur aspect of it, which is understandable. But again, there's some things that stand out really nice. Close-ups, for example, I think work really well. Things that are further away are not as good. And I do have to say that there's not enough reliance on shading and such. So just line work often makes it difficult to see everything clearly. And sometimes expressions are a little bit off. But setting up scenes is good. Panel layout, here's a couple of quick staccato panels coming together. Getting the story across, there's Captain Africa outside of the costume. And what I like is it had continuity. He got scarred by the villain Piranha early on in the book, and he still has those scars throughout the whole comic. There's a lot of banter back and forth with his ex, who's also part of the superhero team or whatever. I think it's kind of annoying. It's not that realistic how they banter. But there's talk about cults and sacrifices and all of that. And two guys get killed right under their watch in under 2 minutes. And there is Johan Sutherland. He was unjustly released from Chagsmate prison after doing 2 years for the mass murder of 11 people. So it's really interesting because this takes the tropes of regular comics and transports them over to black superheroes. And it's a mixture of Batman and Spawn and all of those characters with Black Panther. Here, his suit is able to transform into other sorts of costumes. And he's infiltrating the base. He takes everyone out really well. He's going to go get Johan. And hidden in the office is a hidden chamber where there's some sort of huge skeleton in a closet with humanoid features, but with animal features. And then it's to be continued. The author signs the work as Storm. There's a letters column, which I'm not sure about the continuity here because a lot of these letters mention this comic. So maybe he got the letters, published it early or something, and got letters. I don't know, but people are praising him and say they like what they're seeing. Now, the original strips are also for sale, collected, and I kind of like some of these shirts. I'm sure they're no longer available to get 16 years later, but it might have been cool. And here, warning, this powerful black and white shirt could stop traffic. I would love to stop traffic in my Captain Africa t-shirt. And more sales pitches for various products. And Vertigo City Productions, they seem to be the ones that published the actual comic. And here we have the African American Business Network. So try calling that number there. I'll give you a moment to pause the video, call them up and tell them Captain Africa sent you. There's more books published. This is a continuation of the characters found on the inside cover. And then one more action-filled back page sketch. And that was Captain Africa #1. Number 3, Captain Action Cat from Dynamite. Now this is hilarious because this is on so many levels. Captain Action is an old school superhero action figure from the 60s who then had various comics, like from DC Comics, lay dormant for a long time and then started to get published again in the 2000s. Then we have the parody version, Captain Action Cat. This is the time stream catastrophe. So let's check this one out. The book is a very juvenile, light-hearted comic. Writer and artist Art Baltazar. Writers Franco and Chris Smits, and cover artist Art Baltazar. So basically there is, in beautiful downtown Skokie, Illinois, there's evil cat doing evil things with ghost bug. So it's super colorful, hyperkinetic, very juvenile, cute, and terrible puns. And it's just so much fun. You know, read this to the little kids, and he's transformed into a monkey. So basically, evil cat is trying to extract the most evil villains from throughout the history. So here he's connecting over with the with the Silver Age of comics. That's Silver Age Captain Action Cat, and conflicting with the modern Action Cat. So stuff is happening there. And back in time, current time period, back to the Silver Age. That little cat right there is hilarious. Now, he's a cat, but he can talk, but he can't. Don't think about it. They get trapped now. This is, again, the incredibly juvenile humor. You won't believe this. They fall into the trap. Nevertheless, I always have a disguise that will get us out of any situation. Hey, up there, I think there's been some kind of mistake. What? Who are you? How did you... are you sure? Well, all right. Sorry about that, fellas. And so Action Cat gets out of the pit and... oops. Okay, hilarious. So that beam is still trying to zap them all and extract the evil from the time stream. And we have an ad for Doodle Jump. Remember when that shit was so popular? He's about to get away, but instead, ooh, there's someone frozen in the iceberg. Shades of Captain America. Lady Cat is giving him exposition, stuff is happening with the timeline, and they unfreeze it, and who we have here? The Golden Age Captain Action Cat. Very Batman-esque style from the Golden Age of comics. Lady Cat becomes a lady. Again, this is so meta because there was the human Captain Action and Lady Action. This is everything's cats. The time stream and different dimensions are being screwed up by the beam because it is the catastrophe, and just a lot of action, bright colors, big panels. Back away, cat, you reek of the Golden Age. And then it ends. Blink Buzz Captain, are you still there? The end. And then the main story ends. So we've got some house ads for the Vampirella relaunch series from renowned horror author Nancy A. Collins. A couple of covers by Terry Dodson, and one more, issue number 2. And what do we see here if we look very, very carefully? Hey, wait a minute. That's X and the Ghost from Dark Horse Comics. So there's a collaboration happening here between... Actually, it was listed on the very first page. I skipped that right here. Dynamite, Dark Horse, and Aw Yeah Comics proudly presents. We'll get back to Aw Yeah Comics in a moment. But there's a collaboration with those characters, Dynamite and so forth. And so Aw Yeah Comics is, or was, I don't know now, a comic shop in Skokie, Illinois. Give them a call and buy some comics. And then it ends with some Dynamic Forces covers, the Dresden Files house ad. So there it is. That's the original Captain Action human character and all of these characters over here. Only 2 covers on this, which is amazing, since there's usually 50 covers for everything, the regular and the sketch, which are total ripoffs. I hate those. And then we've got The Blood Queen, a new dark fantasy epic starts here. Written by Troy Brownfield, Grim Fairy Tales, and art by Fritz Casas, Red Sonja. Covers by Jay Anacleto and Ale Garza. And that was Captain Action Cat number 1. Number 2, Captain Power number 1 from Continuity Comics. This one gives me all of the feels. The backstory behind this just speaks to my young heart. In the 80s, there was a commercial masquerading as a Saturday morning cartoon. Well, it wasn't actually a cartoon, it was live action. And it was Captain Power. It was just basically a line of toys that were designed to be sold through the commercial. God, the 80s were so bad. And so I had some of these toys. This is Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future. Basically, you had these toys, these guns that were like airplanes or futuristic ships, and you would shoot at the TV screen, and it would shoot back at you and hit your ship, and it was like amazing. So let's check out this book. All right, so first of all, Continuity Comics is a publisher that's long gone. Neil Adams was the big talent in that. This is a newsstand edition, which actually kind of rare. Continuity was more of a direct market comic book shop publisher, to my knowledge. And they're long extinct. Their characters are long gone. And this Saturday morning live-action cartoon thing, that's long gone too. Now, in Continuity Comics was famous for Neil Adams like inking or penciling everything and then getting a ton of other creators to ink it. And he almost like wrote everything too. Like, how did he sleep in those years? The paper and the coloring is also really top-notch compared to the competition. And this is from 1988, where the big two, DC and Marvel, had like terrible print quality and ink quality. And Continuity really one-upped them with their quality. And then there's Bucky O'Hare before he was a Saturday morning cartoon. So this was a lot deeper than I remembered it. I don't remember the comic. I don't remember the cartoon at all. And I keep calling it a cartoon, but it was a live action thing. I don't remember it at all. I just remember there was these radical ships. You would shoot at your TV screen. They would shoot back at you. It was so interactive and advanced. And when I reread the comic for this video, it was a little deeper than I thought. There's like a lot of mindless violence and exposition and like terrible dialogue. But the art is good. It's like very realistic and the coloring is amazing. Look at these gradations here. This is from 30 years ago and the quality of color is great. Even the paper is a lot better than the other publishers at that moment. So just a lot of action. There's the machines that are just in constant war with humanity. It's a dystopian future. So they win a battle. Now I had that ship back in the day. It had a handle below it. You would grab it, press the button, shoot at the screen. It would shoot back at you. And if it hit you too many times, the cockpit would pop open and Captain Power would fly out dead. There was the evil villainous one, which I didn't see in the comic. My brother had that one. And it was just amazing. So that's the main bad guy right there. And again, look, this colorization is great. The quality, let's get a close-up. The quality of the color and the paper is way better than the competition at that time. Too bad, like, the story just was pretty dreck. So there's exposition here with the big bad guy. A couple of house ads. Come one, come all to the freak show. Bernie Wrightson, rest in peace. Bruce Jones. A horror anthology coming soon from Continuity. God, this is so freaky. Look at that. He's got a head here and a head here. Well, most guys usually have two heads. But anyway, coming soon. What is this? Like, no exposition. What is this? What? Like, coming at us. What? Next up, we've got here for you to get subscriptions. And honestly, these are long gone. There's some old timers that might remember these that have a fond place in their hearts, but Armor, Samaree, Toy Boy, Zero Patrol, Revengers, Ms. Mystic, the only one that really had any sort of meaning and staying power was Miss Mystic. Besides that, and maybe Samaree, this is long gone. And then here's a house ad about don't hold your breath, order your next continuity comics. And remember, most retailers are very cooperative, and they do want to keep their customers happy. Back to the action. He goes on to say that back in the old days, the 90s, humanity fought wars with machines. Nothing could go wrong. So they built so many machine armies. They all started to fight each other, way better than people killing people. Well, the machines then started to expand beyond the boundaries of where they were supposed to fight, and then started to get into the cities. And then suddenly this book turns so dark and violent. There's over here, 37,000 people were killed before a ceasefire was called. No, get away, mommy! Cowering in the darkness, and humans had become expendable like so much furniture. I don't know, is furniture expendable? Like, I love my couch. Oh Lord, another shell, mommy! Pfoomp. Wow, just so violent. Buildings were hiding places for the enemy, worthy only to be cut down. That they might contain hundreds of people was of no consequence to the metal warlords. And look at this shot right here, just like dystopian Terminator. Dead, everyone's dead, and the machines just continue to advance. And that was all a flashback from this guy over here. Well, Captain Power went off to go to the grave of his father. So there's a flashback about Captain Power Sr. The evil-looking guy actually gets scarred beyond belief. The machine cuts me to my soul. And he's the current bad guy in the current time. After being his mind scrambled, he was able to take over all of the machines. Captain Power's dad then leads a resistance. Now, WTF, put your favorite face any place. Personalize with mini photos. Send us your favorite photo, and we'll send you 64 postage stamp size reproductions that stick to anything. Continuity Comics is printing your photo on stickers. This is one of the reasons you went bankrupt, guys. Why are you printing photos? Get to the comics. Anywho, the story goes on. The backstory, a pretty epic battling over here. The very first battle, there is victory. But now this is hilarious commentary right here. They destroy Detroit to make the evil Volcania compound from the bad guys. Let's see, here's the current Captain Power just practicing with his skills and beating all of these robots. This is still the past, however. That is being intercut with the brand new creation of Sauron. This is kind of an epic shot right here. Squeak! This is like a Transformers ripoff named Sauron, which is contrasted really cool actually with then Captain Power really looking tough while his dad watches. And again, great colorization, great anatomy and art and such. And then the book ends with, everyone seems to know that on a certain day and time, Captain Power goes over to the grave of his father. So the bad guy knows that he is at the gravesite, Sauron, and he will stay there long enough for our troops to close. You, Sauron, will lead the assault team to Captain Power. I want him dead. Yes, Master, by the will of the machine, I will destroy Captain Power. To be continued. And we've got some back issues and portfolios. Neil Adams has worked through comics and movie posters throughout the years, and you can buy them here. And then we've got Jason Critter, Toy Boy. You've never seen anyone quite like him. Yep, another extinct comic. And then Megalith #1, The Ultimate Man. So another long gone comic. And then if you were still in suspense about who this crazy looking guy over here was, well, that was Crazy Man, coming soon from Continuity. And that was Captain Power #1. And lastly, this will blow your mind. The #1 best Captain comic that is not Captain America is Captain Oatmeal from Innovation / All American Comics. I don't remember how I got this comic. It was probably out of a lot of some other comics that I bought at once. And I was like, WTF when I bought it. And I'm still WTF, and I present it now to you. So let's check it out. So Captain Oatmeal, champion of breakfasts. First of all, the art is kind of funny and weird. The expressions here on the cover, for example, are very cartoony. This dad is like, I don't give an F. And the kids are like, yay, we love you, Captain Oatmeal. The skin tone on the kids, though, is so close to like the skin tone of Captain Oatmeal. It's kind of freaky. There's a little milk carton, a little cow with a hilarious expression. So this comic here is in black and white. It's from 1990. And there's some expository text at the beginning that talks about Innovation Comics, which is a West Virginia-based publisher, long gone. They were doing a series of color comics and a series of black and white comics. They called the color comics Innovation and the black and white ones All American Comics. Well, they claimed that they were losing sales because people didn't know that these black and white comics were part of Innovation. So next month, they're going to drop All American Comics and just keep it Innovation. Wow. 28 years ago, this was important. So anyway, the book starts, and it's all in black and white. It's the cheap newsprint with very stark blacks. But compared to Captain Africa, Captain Oatmeal, art-wise is leagues ahead. It's very cartoony, very caricatured, great expressions, panel layout and such. There's kind of trying to be a lot of edgy humor, and it usually falls flat. So over here we've got, well, that's a black mark on the old record. No respect for women. Yes. And he thinks, nice hooters. Too bad she's such a dog. And they're trying to think of an origin story for Captain Oatmeal. They're going to sell him as like the next great superhero. So this council of shadowy figures is going to give him an origin. Maybe some meteor crash landed and radioactive particles or whatever grafted the oatmeal to his body. Someone else has an idea that no, instead he was flying a plane over to help starving children. It crashed in the swamp, and the mixture with oatmeal, burnt flesh, and fetid waters react to one another until from the swamp comes something less than human. So there's a Swamp Thing or Man Thing ripoff right there. He's not quite buying it. The story that they go with eventually, however, is more of a Joker-style story where at a nuclear-powered oatmeal factory he falls in. He comes out in a cocoon, shades of the original Adam Warlock, also known as him, and he comes from it, and it's Captain Oatmeal. That's the one they like, so they go with that. But he then starts to freak out because not only is he going to need to be a superhero, he's going to need to go up against the Smirks, he's going to need to have Saturday morning cartoons, video games and board games, merchandise and everything, but he's, no, I can't take it, and splort. And he's like, no, I'm out of here, I'm going to go fight crime. And then it ends in a really hilarious, weird tone. At the Michigan State Institute of Emotionally Disturbed, a shadowy figure creeps in. Now, don't go crazy on me, pal. Cuckoo, nothing personal, you understand, but somebody's gotta be first. And kablam, coming soon, or maybe not, the serial killer. Now, if it ended there, that'd be fine, but it has one more panel here, the serial killer. So this guy's coming to kill Sunny, Commodore Crunch, or actually Commodore Scrunch, Cheeriots, Cheeriotis, patio furniture. Oh, that's hilarious. Cockatoo, silly, and something Bengal. So, okay. Spoiler alert, there was never issue number 2. We don't know who this is. We don't know what his motivation is. We don't know what happens to Captain Oatmeal. This is it. This is all that exists. And the hilarious thing is that this story is only like 10 pages. The rest of the 16 pages is a backup story of something else that I've never heard of before. Same artist. And this is The Awesome Elefino. Created, written, and drawn by George Broderick. There's the artist's self-portrait right there. And this is, pardon me, boys, is that the Indochina Choo-Choo? So in his same style, there are these characters that I don't know who they are at all. I don't know their backstory. I don't know anything at all. This is a ripoff of the Murder on the Orient Express. And basically, the author intercuts the story several times to offer commentary on what's going on. A cast of characters is introduced because one person is murdered. Costumes are revealed. And then this is like an elephant character plus a bird. And they're like detectives or something. And now they have to solve the mystery of who the murderer is. And there's all these characters and terrible puns. And it's like, I don't get it. The art is fun. It's cartoony and detailed and great different shots and action and all of that. It's so weird that the author then every few pages butts in to like kind of like apologize and like, I don't know, trying to be really meta. Here instead of Ever Ready Batteries, we have Never Caddy. And it just cuts back and forth with that, and someone's going to get murdered, and where's the treasure, and stick them up, and really harsh black and white. And again, there's the author again. He's putting on a cowboy outfit, and Saeed is like, the jig is up, and I don't know. Then it finally ends, the mystery is revealed, and that's like a Jack Kirby looking guy over here, and it's his double, but it's just a mask, and they were in it together, and Shirley is okay, and everyone laughs. And then it's over. The end. WTF. There's a bunch of comics from Innovation and All American that are still for sale. Interestingly, look at this over here. Anne Rice's The Vampire Lestat, full color. Authorized adaptation. Beautifully painted art. Bolton cover. So before the Tom Cruise interview with the vampire, there was the novel by Anne Rice, and also a set of comics from Innovation, beautifully painted by Bolton. Now, is it Michael Bolton, John Bolton? I forget, but great artist, realistic painted artist, and a bunch of other comics that are long gone, long extinct. Then we end with a few character sketches of Captain Oatmeal. Let's see. Hat usually comes down to brow. Cape only to middle of back. Bottom heavy, so he's thick. Eyes generally smiling, squinty, except when surprised. So then we have this character that never appears in the story and never will, because there was never issue number 2. B. Tween meal sweets. Patch on hat. Forelocks curl up like mustache. Rotten tooth chest emblem. And, yep, interesting. There's a couple of other comics. Strawmen, Overture, and New Australia. I'm totally curious about that one right there. And one more. Will Captain Oatmeal return, or will we have to take his lumps? He never returned. Kids, this character went on to obscurity, never went on to exist after that. And the back cover, holding a high standard, innovation. And again, you don't know any of these. Totally gone and extinct. I guess that's Lestat. But besides this, long gone comic company. And that was Captain Oatmeal. So which of these unknown Captain comics did you like best? Captain Oatmeal, Captain Power, Captain Action Cat? Captain Africa, Captain Canuck, or maybe you just want to go back to good old Captain Marvel and Captain America. This has been vmcampos. I hope you liked this little video. Don't forget to subscribe and like. If you'd like to join my Patreon for $2, I'll send you a fun, curated comic book straight to your mailbox every month. For only $2, what a deal. This has been vmcampos. See you next time.